Welcome to Spooky Ass Shit. I am your host, Eric Dwinells, and with me tonight, Miss Fatima Elmi.
Hello.
Now, let's see. I don't think I really have anything to catch anybody up on since last week, which is a little sad, since last week I reported I didn't have anything to catch anybody up on.
So sad.
It's the exciting life I lead.
Oh, no.
Well, I got no shows or anything coming up. It's just
True.
kind of a quiet time.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all right. Fatima's here, and I'm glad that she's here. Because, Fatima, there's two things, I was thinking about this. There's two things that I really enjoy about you.
Oh, okay.
One is that you are always up for a spooky road trip. Or, watching most scary movies.
Yes.
But the other thing that I enjoy about you is that you're actually kind of a big scaredy cat.
I am.
Like, you kind of like to do these things, but you're also immediately regretful and afraid.
Yeah, sometimes. Not all the time.
Spider gates.
Spider gates was scary at one point. There were sounds and things.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this before on the show, but we went to Spider Gates. You can hear about it on the episode about doorways to hell or gateways to hell. Forget what number it is, but it's on the website. And Fatima had been there before, and she lives right near them. So she said, "Oh, I can take you out there." So we went out there on a cold winter's day.
Oh my God, it was so cold.
Yeah. And as we were leaving, some kind of noise, a branch rubbing it against another branch or something like that in the wind. It was a windy day.
Yeah.
And she freaked and started to run and was like, "Let's go."
I don't think I even looked back.
You did not.
Just left
and
you.
I was just laughing.
Okay. Well.
So that's why I'm excited tonight, because we are going to watch something that not only have you never seen, you've never even heard of.
Yes.
And that is Salad Fingers.
Never heard of it. Don't know what it is.
Well, I bet there's some people out there in the same boat as you, but on the other hand, it's a very popular internet cartoon.
Okay.
And so I bet a lot of people have heard of it and watched it at one point or another. I don't think I've seen every episode of it even. I was definitely aware of it, many years ago. But he released several episodes over the course of 9 years.
Okay.
So I don't think I've seen all the episodes. But we're going to watch them in just a moment and then come back and record this episode about it.
Okay.
But I wanted to chat with you just a little bit first.
To let everybody know how scaredy cat I am?
Yes, I don't think this is going to scare you that much, but I just...
Okay.
But I just... I don't know how you're going to react to this, to be honest with you. So, it's going to be fun to find out, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
And I want to tell everybody, before we really get into everything, that they can check out the website, spookyas.com.
Yep.
Or spookyasshit.com. They both take you the same place. That is the show's blog page. From there, you can listen to every episode, even the ones no longer available on iTunes.
Oh.
Yeah, after you reach a certain number, they stop, I guess 200.
Huh.
They start, every time I upload a new one, they take away one of the old ones.
I see.
So the first few episodes are no longer available on iTunes, but you can get them on the website. You can also find, outtakes and clips from the show, and sometimes YouTube videos that are associated with it. I'll put a link to Salad Fingers on this episode in case you haven't seen it. Which, by the way, there will be obviously some spoilers, I assume, as we talk about it. We will talk about some things that probably will reveal some plot. So if you haven't seen it, you might want to check it out before listening to this, or maybe you can listen to this and it will enhance your enjoyment when you do watch it. Either way, it's up to you.
Cool.
You can also find links to our social media. We are at Spooky Ass Shit on both Instagram and Twitter. And you can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/spookyas. Now, Fatima, as someone who is a complete virgin to Salad Fingers,
Yep.
what is your initial thought about it?
I don't understand the title.
Okay.
What does that even mean?
It is weird, because I know what his hands look like.
Yeah.
And
does it look like salad?
Well, what does salad look like exactly?
I don't know, I don't know.
How would it pertain to fingers?
Romaine, see some
I mean,
roommate like leaves? Like
I guess so. You seem very angry at me. I don't know. No, I wasn't asking you. I was asking
okay. I thought you. Okay. Anyway, I thought
this
you
is
were
how
like,
it is, folks.
okay. So you don't know, but does Salad Fingers even come up?
Well, that's that's the main character's name.
Okay. Did someone?
And he has salad fingers.
He has salad fingers.
Yeah.
But you said that you
I
don't
mean,
even know what salad fingers look like.
Well, I mean, I do because I've seen it, but I don't. I mean, that's not necessarily what I would imagine salad fingers to look like.
I see.
We're going to talk about the origins of it after. We're going to get into
Okay.
the creator, and he doesn't really give us a ton of information, but he tells us a little bit about where the idea came from.
Yeah, I want a backstory.
Yeah.
I want to know why.
So, any other thoughts before we dive into it? I don't remember where I was living or whatever, but I remember watching it for the first time and just being like, oh, this is a really weird video, and I kind of like this character's voice. He's got an English accent.
I have a feeling I'm not going to like it.
Yeah. Well, you're in for a rough 55 minutes then.
I just think it's going to be a little too weird and bizarre for me.
It might be.
Yeah.
It might be.
Uh-huh.
Well, let's find out.
Okay.
All right, we're going to go watch Salad Fingers, everybody, and when we come back, we're going to talk about it.
Okay.
Hello. I like rusty spoons. I like to touch them. The feeling of rust against my salad fingers is almost orgasmic.
All right, so we just finished watching Salad Fingers all the way through. Your immediate thoughts, Fatima? We have not said one word since it closed. You don't look thrilled.
I really don't have that much to say. I'm sorry. I didn't like it.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Do you have thoughts as to what it was about? What?
I mean,
You need to apologize to me, by the way. We're just
well, no,
covering
but I
this.
feel bad if people really enjoy salad fingers, but I do not. I didn't. I don't know. It seemed silly to me, but I don't know. It definitely felt like Salad Fingers had some mental health issues.
Okay.
And he was, I don't know, he went somewhere.
All right. Well, let's talk about it just a little bit here. Salad Fingers, as mentioned before, is an internet cartoon that began in 2004 and continued up until 2013, I believe.
Okay.
First on a website called Newgrounds, and then on YouTube as well, and now on David Firth's own website where he posts all of his stuff. David Firth is the man who created Salad Fingers and did the animation and does all the voices. He was born on January 23rd, 1983, and Wikipedia describes him as an English animator, writer, musician, actor, voice actor, filmmaker, video artist, and broadcaster. A real Renaissance man.
Yep. Is he related to Colin Firth?
I don't know.
Mm.
They say that his work contains a large amount of dark imagery and tends to explore topics of disturbing and surreal nature, such as depression and mental illness, which is something you brought up.
Uh-huh.
So you might be on the right track.
Yeah.
He has stated that it is not his intention to upset or offend. Some of his work may be described as dark humor, while much of it is simply experimental, using many different styles of animation.
Cool.
Fatima seems particularly unimpressed.
I told you this was not going to be... I wasn't going to like it.
Well, I will state that I even wrote it in my notes here. About a minute in, you looked at me with an angry look on your face. And then about 10 minutes after that, you said, I feel like you did this on purpose.
Yes, I do.
And I didn't know exactly what you meant by that.
Because I feel like usually when you have a topic to discuss, you watch something first and then you do the podcast. But this time we did like a little intro, then you paused it, and then we watched it. Because I feel like if 10 minutes in, I would have been like, I'm not talking about this.
Well, I mean, technically you still have that right, and that is
Well.
kind of what you're doing with your monosyllabic answers up till that point. No, it's nice to see you a little fired up. Listen, I didn't make the thing.
I know you didn't, but
I
you
don't
made
give a shit
me
if you
just
like it or
watch
not.
all of that.
For the show.
Yep. All right. Well,
So you feel as if the last almost hour of your life was a waste then, basically.
there was no need for me to watch Salad Fingers.
Okay. So what you're saying is you don't give it a very strong recommendation for the audience.
I think some people might enjoy it. Me, no.
I will say this. I think that sitting here and watching the whole thing in one sitting is a bit much.
Okay. So as you said before, it was kind of like it was a series.
Yeah, but I mean series in the sense that it's a series of cartoons that go together, but it wasn't like on weekly or anything. He'd release it like every few years. There'd be a new episode, or maybe once every year. I don't know. I don't remember what the schedule was exactly.
Right. So it wasn't like watching it all 10 episodes at once, like binge watching, like we would do with Stranger Things or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think that might be a better way to enjoy it.
I think so, because I think maybe spreading it out, maybe people are like anticipating.
Well, let's talk about what it is before we go too far with trying to dissect
let's
how to watch
do
whatever.
That.
Yeah, the first note that I have is actually the first note is that you said that his fingers actually look like green beans.
Yes.
When we were trying to think of what exactly salad fingers.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't think they look like salad like you were trying.
Maybe celery?
No, they look like...
No, I know what you're saying, but I'm just saying, like, if you're trying to think of, like, salad fingers, like, maybe that's what they're interpreting as salad fingers?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
It doesn't look like a bowl of salad.
No, they look like long green beans.
And it doesn't even look like lettuce.
No.
So, all right, now, it basically just starts with this introducing this character, Salad Fingers, who does his own narration for the story.
Mm-hmm.
Story in quotation marks.
Mm-hmm.
And he mentions that he's got salad fingers and he likes to touch rusty spoons and other rusty things.
Yeah.
That it feels orgasmic to him.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically episode 1. As it goes on, you get a lot of like images of him touching things. He also likes to lick things. He sings Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
He does.
And then he steals a baby stroller.
Yeah.
And he says, "Oh, you're going to be my nettle carrier," because he's been out collecting nettles, which are like those stabby little plant things.
Okay.
And he puts them in the carrier and walks away, and then he's chased by a character who turns red in the face, angry, I assume, and follows him home. This is a character who's wearing a barbecue apron, says barbecue on it,
Yeah.
and a name tag that says Harry.
Mm-hmm.
Now he gets to Salad Finger's house and starts knocking on the door with his head, and he knocks so hard for so long that he kills himself, apparently.
Yeah.
Salad Fingers opens the door to find this body on the ground, and he's like, "Oh, what's your name?" And he's got the name tag, we clearly see it, but he doesn't say Harry. Instead, he names him Milford Cubicle. And Milford Cubicle is dead.
Yeah.
But Salad Fingers is talking to him as though he's alive.
Yeah.
And he hangs him on a meat hook in his living room.
Mm-hmm.
Where he will remain for the rest of the series.
Right.
Decaying.
Yep.
Then Salad Fingers tells us he's going to go looking for France, but he sees a little child watching him. You don't remember this part?
No.
I think this is up when you were getting a popsicle.
Oh, maybe.
But you're still in the room, but...
Okay.
Anyway. The little child upsets him for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes back inside his house.
Okay.
But then there's a knock at the door, and he finds a rusty old faucet.
Oh,
and it's being pulled on a string, so he's following it.
Yeah.
And he stumbles into a bear trap in the woods. And then he's put in like this little prison box with bars on it. And we find out the little child has trapped him.
Mm-hmm.
And he offers him a ring. And then Salad Fingers says, "No, I don't like this game." And he disappears. And the little child cries.
Yep.
You're really adding a lot to this
I
episode.
mean, I don't know what you want me to say.
Well, just if you have any thoughts on any of these things that are happening, you could speak up or whatever.
No.
On what any of it means.
I mean, I think Salad Fingers had some issues.
Well, he does have issues because he's got this one character that he sees all the time and he refers to all the time. This is Hubert Cumberdale. He's got these finger puppets. And they all have names.
Mm-hmm.
But the most important one seems to be Hubert Cumberdale.
Yeah.
And when he sees him later on, he doesn't seem to recognize him as Hubert Cumberdale. In fact, he calls him Barbara Logan Price. And he gives him what he calls a friendship hat.
Maybe I fell asleep at that part.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't remember that.
Now, then he goes on a picnic with what looks like a little girl.
Okay, I remember that.
And he's talking to her. Anytime anytime any other characters talk, it's him talking.
Yeah.
And usually they kind of show him, like, covering his mouth and, like, doing a different voice.
Yeah, or they're not talking, it's just, like, loud noises.
Yeah, just like...
Yeah.
Yeah. So this little girl, he'll ask a question and then he responds to whatever she says back.
Mm-hmm.
But she didn't actually say anything back.
Mm-hmm.
But then, towards the end, she does talk back.
Yeah.
And he freaks out.
Right.
Like, he doesn't say anything. He just, like, kind of goes into his own world and you see weird animation and... I just thought that was an interesting little note that the only other speaking character
Yeah.
kind of sets him off.
I mean, it makes sense because I think he's in his own world anyway, so if somebody else is talking, I don't know, it freaks him out.
I think you're onto something. Then one of his finger puppets appears both as a finger puppet but then also like life size.
Yes.
In his house.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a gift for Salad Fingers. And it's a toy horse.
Right.
Which he names Horace Horsecollar. Which is the name of an old Disney character.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from like those early cartoons.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Horace Horsecollar. He has a little conversation with his toilet. And then he tells Horace Horsecollar that he better take him home. Because he's not feeling well.
Yeah.
And then they walk back to his house. And when they get to his house, he sees himself sitting in a chair.
Yeah.
And himself addresses Salad Fingers as Jeremy Fisher.
Right.
And he keeps talking about the Great War the entire time, by the way. Jeremy Fisher is supposed to be at the Great War.
Wasn't Jeremy Fisher like the black character?
Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta make it racial.
I mean, I don't have to. I'm just just bringing it up, I guess. I don't know.
And then the second version of Salad Fingers is like, oh, Jeremy Fisher, I never got to taste you because he tasted all his other finger puppets. So then you see him like eating his own head.
Yeah. So do you think he's Jeremy Fisher?
Well, I don't know. I guess I think he's all the characters except maybe the little girl.
Okay.
I don't know. We can talk about that at the end. I'm just trying to give the audience, like, if they haven't seen it, like, some idea. There's more things that happen, but these are just the basics of,
I feel like the audience is going to have to see it because what we're talking about sounds ridiculous without
True.
having seen it.
Yeah. Well, he
It just sounds like we're making shit up.
yeah. I don't. Well, in any event, he finds Hubert Cumberdale again, and this time he doesn't. He's not calling him the other name, Barbara Logan Price. He's calling him Hubert Cumberdale again.
Okay.
And then he's like, "Oh, Hubert, you've been busy," because he has like this hole dug up, and he looks in the hole, and there's a corpse in there.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "Oh, Kenneth, my little brother Kenneth, back from the Great War, on leave from the Great War." And they go and have dinner, and he reminisces about frolicking by the shore.
Yeah.
But then his dream is actually him stepping outside his house to measure the distance between his house and a tree that he calls Mr. Branches.
Yeah, what was that about?
I don't know.
Okay.
And then Kenneth has to go back to the war. So he says a tearful goodbye, does Salad Fingers, and then kicks him back into the ditch where he found him.
Or where he put him?
Well, you tell me.
Oh my god.
What do you think the symbolism of Kenneth is?
I think he killed his brother
Okay.
and buried him in the backyard.
Okay. Now,
Like Psycho.
Psycho.
Yeah, like Norman Bates killed his mom and kept her in the basement and like pretended, well, in his head, she was still alive.
Yeah. All right. Then we meet Roger the radio.
Right.
Now, Roger is a broken radio that's unplugged and has like an open back.
Yep.
And Salad Fingers dumps beans into it. And then he can hear the radio talk.
Yes.
But the radio upsets his stomach, and he's like, "Oh, I don't like these frequencies." And he says, "I'm going to hide this one out in my safety cupboard."
He has a safety cupboard.
Yeah, which is a crawl space that he goes into.
Yep.
And then we don't hear any more about that, but he's back in his room. And,
No, I think that's where he lives.
what? In the safety cupboard?
Yeah.
Well, because later on he comes out, and he's not coming out of the cupboard. He's coming out of, like, a doorway.
Oh.
I don't know. It's a little unclear, apparently.
Okay.
Maybe we both missed something. Oh, this is when he finds the hair. He has a hair collection that he rubs on his eyes. I wish I was videotaping your reactions to everything. It's just, she's just...
Tell us about the hair collection.
He's just got, like, one of each color. And it's all, like, stuck to the wall with tape.
Yep.
And then he comes back out of this room, and Roger Radio seems upset that he took one of these hairs. He says something about my hair. And then he was like, "This place is filthy, you've got to clean up your house." And Salad Fingers is like, "It's not my turn, and anyway, it's a nasty job, and I won't do it." And the radio gets all pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
So then he has to go back to his safety cupboard.
And what does he do?
He sits and he cries.
And then what else does he do?
What?
Did you see this part?
Maybe not. What?
Where he takes the tape of hair and eats it?
Oh, I missed that. I must have been writing my note.
Yeah.
But the hair was in the safety cupboard?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's where I think he lives. Like, he lives in the safety cupboard. Because there was a bed there. That's where he lives.
All right. So the next thing is, like, these tree branches come into his house, and he sees a branch, and he takes a bite out of it.
Uh-huh.
And we hear a voice from outside crying, "Daddy, that hurts."
Yeah.
And then he goes outside,
Mm-hmm.
and he sees the tree that he measured earlier.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, Mr. Branches." And Mr. Branches is like, "Someone bit off my arm." And he's like, "Oh, we'll take care of that with some stuff." And he's like, "But Daddy, I want to come inside. It's so cold out here, Daddy." And he was like, "Well, you're not coming in until you lose those branches, or fit into the branches, or something about the branches." And then he just leaves them outside.
Yeah. What do you think that means?
Well, I think we're seeing a theme here
Yeah.
developing. Because there was a little child,
Mm-hmm.
And he, like, walked away from that little child in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
And then he walks away from this Mr. Branches. And there's one more baby thing we're going to talk about
Yes.
that you're getting excited about. And another thing I meant to mention is he seems to enjoy pain.
Yes.
Like, he sticks his finger on a nail in the first part,
Mm-hmm.
like a rusty nail,
Yep.
and he seems to love that.
Yep.
And then the bear trap, even when he's stuck in the bear trap, he seems to like that.
Mm-hmm.
He says he loves it when the red water comes out.
Yeah.
Fatima's rolling her eyes. Now, the next thing is what you were talking about. His stomach gets rumbly again, and he says it's his, like, final days or whatever.
Yeah.
But then his stomach bursts open, and there's just, like, black globule that comes out.
Lobule.
And he calls it a baby
Mm-hmm.
and decides to name it Yvonne.
Yeah.
And at first, he's all sweet to it, like singing lullabies and stuff. But then later on, he's trying to do work. And he's like, oh, you're supposed to be doing your exercises, Yvonne. Why aren't you doing your exercises? And he's all pissed off. And then we see him, like, he looks sickly again.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got this thing that he's pumping on his chest, like a respirator,
Oh,
I guess.
yeah.
And he's like, Yvonne, I can't take care of you. And Yvonne's like, oh, but you've been such a good daddy. And he's like, nope, I can't do it. I'm going to take you somewhere. And he taps out Morse code.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then the next thing we know, he's in a wheelchair bringing Yvonne to
His aunt?
Aunt Brainbridge.
Hmm.
But he gets there, and he's like, oh, Aunt Brainbridge, give me a hug. And this person just backs away. And again, speaks in like that kind
Yeah.
of thing. And doesn't take the baby. Doesn't really acknowledge Salad Fingers or the baby.
Because it's not a baby.
And then Salad Fingers has Yvonne in a bucket. And he's like, oh, I'm just going to, I just came to clean your windows. That's what I'll do. And then he takes Yvonne and starts rubbing Yvonne on the windows, which makes a big black mess because Yvonne's just this black globule thing. And then the next thing we see is the bucket that had Yvonne with Yvonne, like, laying outside of it, like it's been kicked over. And Salad Fingers is kind of away from the house eating a sandwich.
Yeah. That was weird. This whole thing's so weird.
You don't want to break down any of the symbolism as we go through here?
I
Have
don't
a
know.
guess?
Sometimes I feel like when he went to see his aunt or whoever that was, like that's real life. Like the aunt was saying something in English, but Salafing's just so messed up that he doesn't see, doesn't understand what she's saying. I don't know.
All right, so then the next thing that happens is he tells us, this is the final episode now, and he tells us that it's Hubert's birthday and that they're going to have a celebration for Hubert Cumberdale's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
But he says, Milford Cubicle, you need to take a bath before the party begins because you are kind of pooish because he's a rotting corpse.
Yeah.
And the corpse, like, falls off the wall as he's talking to it. And then he was like, oh, I know what will get you moving. And he starts to, like, play this invisible music box that makes his teeth dance in time to the music. His mouth is the music box. And then he's like, well, you're not feeling well. I better go get the doctor. So he goes to, like, this box in the woods, this box of, like, stuff. And he's like, oh, here's the doctor. And he's got this doctor puppet now. And then he lies down on a slab in the woods, and he's like, oh, doctor, I suppose you're going to examine me now. And the doctor gets, like, a very physical examination going, and he seems to be enjoying it a little too much at first.
Mm-hmm.
Just like he enjoys all the other painful things that have happened to him. And then the doctor bites him, and he doesn't seem to like that. He throws the doctor across the way. The doctor lands on a life-size version of Horace Horsecollar, who's not supposed to be there because he's back at home. Salad Fingers had left him in charge.
Uh-huh.
But now the doctor's ripping into Horace Horsecollar, who's crying. And Salad Fingers says, I know it hurts, but just let him finish and drink your blood. Then he wakes up on the Salad Fingers, wakes up on the slab with a tree grown between his legs. And he says, oh, I must have slept for 6 Mondays. Now, did he actually sleep for 6 Mondays? Should be 6 weeks. I don't know. But he goes home, and his house is full of horses. And he says, horse collar, I said you could have one friend over. And he's looking all over the houses, and there's horses everywhere, including curled up in the drawers. Which was the only moment that I was like, oh, that's pretty funny, actually. I thought that was funny.
Did you?
When he opened the drawers and there was like a horse looking out. Yeah, I thought it was funny.
Did you think those were dead horses?
No.
Really? They were alive?
I mean, I think they were just folded up horses.
Yeah, like folded up dead.
I don't know. I thought they were alive, I guess.
I think because Salad Fingers kills people.
Okay. Well, he goes over to the corpse of Milford Cumberdale, and it's just a skeleton now. No clothes or anything, just a skeleton. And then he blames the horses.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, all right, horses, you get out of here. All of you. And then when he opens the door, he sees this pole that he'd seen earlier, but he was just, nothing really happens. It's just this big white pole. And then he's like, oh, you're back. What's your problem? You probably did all this. But then he looks further down the line, and there's a table full of creatures that look just like him. Not just like him, but same species anyway. They all have slight differences. And they're sitting around eating brains.
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh, you guys all came for my birthday. I thought you'd forgot. The whole platoon's here. And then the pole lowers, and on the top of the pole is a present for Salad Fingers.
And what's the present?
The present is a hat made out of the skin and clothing of Milford Cubicle. And he says he's going to wear it from now until the day he dies.
Milford Cubicle is the one with the barbecue apron?
Yeah.
But did he go to the Great War? I felt like that was a Great War hat.
Okay, so, well, I thought maybe it was a friendship hat. A form of friendship hat. Because remember he gave a friendship hat earlier to
No.
Barbara Logan Price?
No.
Now see?
No, I don't remember.
Now we're getting into it. Now we're talking about this is what.
Oh,
That's the end of Salad Fingers, by the way.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, Fatima, and I think you'll be glad to know this. That's only the end for now.
What do you mean?
In November of last year, David Firth announced that he was actually working on episode 11.
Well, I don't need to see it. You can tell me all about it.
All right. So just going through, there are some theories out there about what this all means.
Okay.
And everyone's got their own theories and everything. One I was watching today is from the Film Theory YouTube channel. I'll put a link on the website. And he's got a very lengthy explanation about the Great War and what it all means. And if I could be misrepresenting it here, but the way I remember him talking about it is basically this is someone who did not get to go to the Great War, and he's kind of like been abandoned by the people in his life, and so this is kind of like his madness around that.
He went cuckoo crazy.
Yeah, he tries to place it firmly, like I think in 1939 is when he says this must have happened, based on the songs that the character sings and the references that it makes, like horse collar, which is not a reference that would be made, by most people now.
Right.
But
yeah,
and the fact that they keep referring to the Great War.
Yeah, I could see that.
Well, it's later than the Great War, but that's okay. Like, we're assuming this person lived during that time, and they're not quite connected with reality. I don't think there's any doubt that this is not a sane person that we're dealing with.
Right.
So there is that to keep in mind.
Yes. Yeah.
And he also mentions the whole like baby and abandonment issues.
Mm-hmm.
So I was interested in what David Finch might have to say.
David Finch.
David Fitch.
David Firth.
David Firth. I was interested in what David Firth might have to say about all this. So I looked up an interview that he gave. And I found a couple questions. Again, I'm going to link to the interview and everything off the website. I did get it from a website, but it's like a Tumblr kind of thing, and the URL is really funky to give out, so I'm just going to post it on the website, and you can see it from there.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, a couple of questions he asks are, the guy asks, where do you get the salad fingers surroundings from? And David Firth says, I like to make it places that don't particularly look very nice, but it's not hell either. I always draw places I'd like to explore, not particularly be in, but explore. And the way it seems like an alien planet is because I try not to have any obvious references to where or what time it's in. I don't like to have any cultural references in there, so it's timeless. If I make something that has no identification of wherever or what age it's in, then it's my own world. That's how it feels like it's a foreign planet. I think it's the same way I try to avoid any fashion at all.
Mm-hmm.
So he's kind of saying there, to me, it seems that he doesn't want people trying to figure out like when and where this takes place.
Right.
Even though people are trying to figure like, no, this must be 1939 and it must be England because he references these two English places and he's got a North English accent and, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But reading further in the interview, it seems more and more like that he just doesn't want people trying to figure this out, because the interviewer asks, why do you think people find salad fingers interesting? And his answer is because they've never seen anything like it, and because they're interested in the character and what he does. I think they might want to know what happened, but they don't realize that if it was explained, it would ruin the mystery. I think it cheapens a piece of art if it's got a purpose. I think it is up to the people watching it to determine what it's about. If I do have a point to make, I might be subtle about it. I might just throw it in there, but it's not the main focus. Fatima's making a stink face.
Yeah, no. I want to know what it's about. I need a purpose.
Well, a lot of people have enjoyed this work. It started growing, like I said, on the internet in 2004. And from there, especially once it took off on YouTube, it became very popular. In 2005, the San Francisco Chronicle ranked it among the top 10 pop culture phenomena
Really?
of the year.
Interesting.
Salad Fingers, the name comes from an in-joke with his friend, Christian Webb, who's kind of a co-creator on this and worked on the series with him.
Mm-hmm.
But while David Firth was playing guitar one day, his friend said that his fingers looked like salad fingers when he was playing a C chord.
Okay. What does that even mean?
I don't know. I guess we're going to have to ask Mr. Webb.
Okay.
Now, you mentioned that you are not a fan of salad fingers.
No.
Which is okay. Everyone's got their own opinions.
Mm-hmm.
But interestingly, the interviewer asked David Firth about his thoughts on people who don't like his work.
Okay.
And this is what he had to say. He said, I like it when people that aren't used to it see stuff like mine. They stumble upon it, even if they don't like it, because I'm happy for them that they've seen it. Even if they don't like it, they may be ready then for something similar or something else later on. Even if people aren't enjoying it, they still might be affected by it in some way.
Okay.
So he's okay with you not liking it.
Good.
He's glad that you
I've
at least
saw it.
experienced it,
Yeah.
and maybe now in the future,
Mm-hmm.
when you see some weirdo, creepy shit,
Right.
next
that
time,
I surely probably will.
you'll be primed for it,
Knowing you. Yes.
and you'll be like, oh, I get this now,
Mm-hmm.
because I saw salad fingers.
Yeah. I mean, I could understand that. I get it. I still didn't like it. But David Firth gave me permission not to like it, so it's all right.
He did.
Yeah.
So this is kind of the first internet thing that I've covered, aside from maybe if you want to consider Black-Eyed Children. But I just thought, we cover all kinds of spooky topics.
Mm-hmm.
So why not dive into one of the OG viral before viral was a thing
Yeah.
videos.
Okay.
And I thought you'd be good because of your strong reactions to things.
Are you being serious?
Well, it seems like I'm being sarcastic, but in
Yes.
general, no, I'm serious.
Okay.
Because you do generally have feelings about things. Like movies and stuff when we watch them.
Yeah.
And here you're just kind of nonplussed, is how I would say. You are unfazed. You don't seem to have made an emotional connection one way or the other
No.
with Salad Fingers.
Mm-mm.
But it didn't creep you out.
It didn't creep me out. No.
Okay.
I wasn't creeped out at all.
That, I think, was the thing in the beginning when that first episode came out.
Yeah.
People were like, what is this? Why is he rubbing rusty spoons? And that was, like, considered really creepy back then.
I guess so.
Maybe now we've just seen so much weird shit that
Yeah.
it doesn't, like...
Doesn't faze us?
Yeah.
No, I wasn't creeped out at all. I was just like, ugh.
And people are like, oh, that voice is creepy, and he's
No.
rubbing things.
No.
And I remember it being creepy, and then I watch it now, and I'm like, it's weird, but I wouldn't, like, be scared of it.
No. I wasn't scared.
There are some, like, loud sound effects and stuff that kind of come out of nowhere. That maybe
Yeah.
if you were, like, watching on a computer...
Yeah.
We're watching it on YouTube on the PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
But if we were, like, huddled in front of a little computer
Maybe.
10 years ago, it might have been scary.
Could be.
All right. Well, that is our coverage of Salad Fingers for all the millennials out there who grew up watching it. See, that's the thing. They're probably like, oh, I remember I was in middle school when that first came out, and I was watching it, and don't give me a face. I'm saying there are people listening that were in middle school in 2004.
Okay.
And they probably have, like, strong memories of watching Salad Fingers with their friends at a sleepover and being freaked the fuck out. And they probably did the voice and stuff and started, like, offering spoons to each other. I would have.
I know you would
when
have.
I was that age.
Mm-hmm. Weren't you in middle school in 2004?
Yeah, I was just graduating middle school. All right. That's the end of our Salad Fingers coverage. Once again, to see a link to the whole thing, you can find it on YouTube. If you Google Salad Fingers, it'll come right up. But I'll post a link on the website to that, as well as the film theory episode about it and the interview that I mentioned, so you can read and listen and watch all those things. And that is spookyas.com or spookyasshit.com. And again, you can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/spookyas. I'll post some of those things there too. And please, if you could, subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts or Stitcher or iHeartRadio or wherever you can. And leave some kind words. It really helps keep me motivated, keeps the show going. And if you could share the show with any of your spooky friends, that'd be great. And Facebook, Twitter, all those things, those are good ways to share. You know, maybe this isn't your favorite episode, but maybe you have a favorite episode and you want to share it. Maybe this is your favorite episode. Fatima was so funny and amusing today.
Yeah.
You just want to share it with the world. Could be.
I don't think so.
Look, different strokes for different folks. Someone might be like, that Fatima, she really is very funny. When how she, like, says things once in a while.
Right.
All right. Until next time, don't be afraid.